Okay, so now that we have the setup here for our FK setup, let's set a IK setup here as well. So I am going to create a Apex auto rig component, connect it here. Let's visualize it, and on this one we're going to set it to smooth IK, and we'll start off with arm. That is good. Guides skeleton is for the guide source, so capital G UIDES, and you want to make sure that it is spelled the same way over here, skeleton. Okay, and then I'm going to turn off smooth IK for this one. And let's look at the naming of our skeleton. So I'm going to go to the geometry because I want to mirror things over to the other side. So we can see we have underscore R underscore and L underscore L, and then we have the elbow joint, for example. So what I want to do inside of this AutoRig component is set it up to replace. So we have the underscore L underscore, and I'm going to put a star at the beginning and at the end, because with our naming of our joints, if we look at the skeleton, we can see that we have a name for the character beforehand, and then we have the information for that joint afterwards. So we want to make sure that we are able to kind of like read both sides. Okay, so let's go in here, and this one, let's label these. This is going to be our full body IK, or FK, sorry. And this is going to be our arm IK. Okay, so we are searching for underscore L underscore with anything on either side, and then we're going to replace it with the R. So it's going to be star underscore R underscore star. So we're just replacing, and then in order to use that we need the mirror checked on. And let's look at our scene view. We're probably going to need to jump back to our Apex rig setup, but let's go into driven. So right here in driven we can see that we have tags. So it's going to be left, IK, root, and arm. And cool, it grabbed all of those for us automatically. That is super awesome. And root, mid, end, that is great. And then over here for the pull vector on the control, we actually want to use the pull vector control. So if we look at our guide skeleton, actually let's do it a little bit easier because there's less things over here. And let's go into our geometry spreadsheet, and we can reference it by our tags as well. So we are going to need the PV, IK, PV, arm, and left. So let's go to our IK setup, and here we're going to reference, actually it's going to basically be this setup here, left IK, cool. I'm going to go here and go to controls, and then paste that, and then instead of mid it's going to be PV, which is capital PV. And let's check if it worked. It might not because I have the quotes because they're strings, but let's check. Let's go into the scene view and look at all the controls. You can extend them down, and we can see that we have an IK handle, and it's not finding anything because we have the quotes on ours. Okay, so I do need the quotes on everything, so let's go back over here, driven, and I'm just gonna really quickly put quotes around everything. I think because of the way we did it, we didn't actually need to put the quotes. There, you can see that it worked because it just jumped the whole skeleton down because the rest of them didn't have the connections. And then let's get the, there we go. And it jumped both over to the other side because we still need to go over here and change elements of this still here. So we need the tags to have the quotes. And that was my bad with the way we named it, because I thought we needed it that way, but it should be okay. And then the L, or underscore L here, we're going to replace that with arm underscore L, and then that should replace it and bring it over to the other side. That is great. So we can see that we're not getting it, but we know that it's PV, it's going to be arm left. Let's see if we can remove IK, because it should work with it or without it. You can see that the pull vectors are down here. So if we go in and try to get the pull vectors, they're even just missing. Okay, so it looks like, oops, with the pull vectors, let's make sure that the pull vectors have all these tags. So left pull vector and arm. So let's look at the arm here, and we'll highlight that there. So we have IK, pull vector, arm, and left. So we have the 4 tags. And let's jump back down here. And we were using left. I did have the IK before. We can add that again. So let's just copy this, space, paste, space, and then put the and sign again. And then this is going to be IK. Okay, and then here we can see that it's still not reading it. So it looks like on the guide skeletons at this point we're not able to use our tags. So let's remove that, and then let's just get the name of that specific joint. So we have the name, and let's copy, actually we'll copy this here. Okay, since we actually, yeah, I want to get the expressions. I don't want that locked. Okay, let's go into the point VOP. Actually, not the point VOP, I want the name. So we want all of this. And then it's going to be like knee or elbow. That's the knee one, but we're working with the elbow right now. Okay, we'll go here, paste that there, and this is going to be elbow. And I don't remember if I had a capital E. I feel like it didn't do elbow like that. Okay, let's look at the scene view and see if the pull vectors came up, and they did. So the tags currently don't work in the pull vectors with the guide skeleton, but that's okay. We have both the right and left arm. Now let's copy this, and we're going to put that over here. This is going to be our legs, IK. This is going to be leg. And then let's look at the settings. They're going to be the same. Then here we are going to search for left, IK, root mid arm, and then this is going to be leg. And you can see it breaks it all until we fix everything. And then we can see that it works there. The only problem is that it's connecting onto the arm control. So we can change it here for leg. There we go. And now we need the pull vector joint knee, and then we have the knees set up properly. Great. So we can test this really quick. If we look at all our controls, we have a ton of controls already. We have the pull vectors, but we have the IKs here, and that is working properly. Here with this leg, you can see that we got a little bit of a wonky rotation, and we have a bit of an issue there. So let's take a look at this. So this is because we have the twist joints. It's not able to calculate it properly. So let's, for the moment, although if we do that, I think it's going to break the whole skeleton. Let's visualize this here. Okay. So we have the leg and the arm. So I am going to cut and cut, cut and cut for now. And when we want to add the twist joints back in, we will in the proper place. Let's cut this here. And this one, let's cut it here. Okay, so we don't have any of the twist joints. We'll bring them back in when we need to. But this should all stay with the same naming. It's going through and kind of recalculating everything. Let's make sure that it's all the same. There we go. We go to the FK, and we can see that we have the proper setup here. Then the IK, and let's select the IK arm, and this is the left side. IK arm left. Nope, maybe it wasn't that. Let's go ahead and I'm gonna Control Z my way back to reconnect all of these things. Cool. Full body IK. That is working properly. Let's just double check. Boom, boom, boom. Cool. Now the IK. This is where we're starting to have a little bit of an issue. Let's say, oh, there's something else that we're gonna need to adjust there, but we have all that set up. We have this set up, and right now that is working properly. Let's see if we turn on smooth IK on everything. Left arm IK. Okay, so let me go ahead and if we have this, nope. Main axis, I think it's the Z. Let's do the Y because we changed the rotation. Okay, and then let's refresh this to make sure that it is loading properly, and then let's go into the arm IK. Let's bring that in. You can see that it's not bending properly. Let me pause the video, I'll figure it out, and then we will continue. Okay, I found out what the issue was, and it's just a little typo. Here on the left, instead of a quote, I put a semicolon. And here on the leg, I am sure it's going to be the same thing. Yep, change that to a quote. And let's see, let's do this bone bind, just so that we know what it is. So if we select the pole vector, we should have the rotation happening. Right now, the twist is not happening. Let's see really quick with the arm IKs. I want to experiment for a second. If you turn on smooth IK, yeah, you can see that it's going to work a little bit different. So I want to make sure that that is off. Also, the main axis, I have it as X. So if, let's see, if we do a different axis, let's try Z. It seems to, let's highlight it over here so that we're actually seeing what comes out. So with the Z, it seems to be working fine. Then X, let's double check it here, and that seems to be fine. I am curious, because I was thinking that it could either be like it's bending on the main plane being the Z going front and back, or is the main axis the rotation of the joint, so that would be that it's following the X. I'm gonna leave it on X right now. Let me go here, let me see if we can look at the documentation for a second. So here we have a lot of information. Let's main axis. So it's not finding anything here. Let's see if it's in beta, so not everything is completely documented right now. Let me pause the video and see if I can find something on it, what the main axis is. That way we can make sure that we set it properly. Okay, so it seems like I can't find anything online right now, but these are working right now on the x-axis. So as they say, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. So right now we can see that it's working fine, and let's just see, like in here, make sure that we are selecting the, say I'm selecting the wrist, which I don't want. We'll clean it up more later on, but I want to make sure that I am selecting the right control. There we go. Left arm RK. Scene animate here. We should have the IK controls here as well. That is the FK. Let's look over here. That is what we are binding. That is good. Let's see if we reverse that order here. So we got the scene animate and then the bone deform. So the scene animate here. Are we actually selecting the right control? No. It should be going after there anyways. Let's here, let's double check that. And there's a little bit of a shift here just because of where we are kind of, it's not exactly lined up with the axis. We can set it up so that it is moving on that plane, but it's working right now, so we're not going to fiddle with it too much. But I want to make sure that when I look at it here, I am getting the IK handle. That's good. Let's just add, well, we'll add controls in a minute, but in the next video. But right now, I think that if we go to the left handle right here, that is working just fine. Let's just make sure that when we are in the scene animate right here, that is bending just fine. It is. And here, it is. Okay, so let's end the video here. And in the next one, we'll start setting up some controls so that way we can actually get it in the scene animate. We have controls right now, but right now we have some overlapping controls and things like that. So I want to make some custom controls so that we can select it a little bit easier and make sure that we have access to it there. So here you can see that we're getting the pull vector and everything, but when we get to the scene animate, it's gone. So, and the next video, we'll take a look at setting up some controls for our character. All right, see you guys in the next video. Bye.